Okay, Massey. Thanks very much for doing the interview. So, if you wouldn't mind, first of all, start off. Tell us a little bit about your family. Who's your mum? Where does she come from?
My mother, father. My mother from Walton's Lane. She was born in 1899.
Wow.
My father was born in 1997. And they married at 1922. And you mentioned Henry Maloney. Well, his mother told him that she remembers seeing my mother and father coming up from St. John's after getting married. So that'll tell you how old Henry's mother was.
And what was her maiden name then?
Cassidy.
Cassidy.
Yeah, her father was Tommy Cassidy, and his father was in the British Army, and he came down from Laois.
Right.
You know.
And then your own dad. Then what was what profession was he in?
He was an ordinary labouring man, the same as the vast majority of workers in Ireland. And he worked in that ESB effort in County Clare. And I was listening to the TG Car one night. They had done 60 years of celebrating the ESB and that particular plant. And they interviewed a man from the Gaeltacht. And he came out with, when he was asked what sort of conditions were there, what he said was Slavíocht a bhí ann. Slavery was there. And I don't think my father came out of it with good health, because he hadn't great health for one way or the other, you know.
Yeah. And then you went to Mount Sion.
Canucksheen.
Yeah. And did you like it there?
Well, the more I think about it, I'm not sure whether I liked it or just endured it.
Survived.
So I survived as the focal.
But you got the Irish stuff.
Well, I for some strange reason, there was fellas being hammered for Irish. Now I was hammered for everything else, but not for Irish.
So you liked the language.
And I had to grow up for it, yeah.
But was that in your family or was that just yourself?
It's myself. Just myself.
And then how did you end up in the glass? What happened?
Sin scéal fada. On the 3rd of February 1953, a knock came to the door on the Cork Road, and there was Joe Murphy, who was probably doing all the jobs for the factory. Called, knocked on the door, told me there was a job in the glass factory and to go down. I went down, I met the late Bill Dolphin.
And sorry, did he know your family? Like?
He probably did, John. The late Bill Dolphin told me, come on, he said, we have work for you. Brought me up to Eddie Elliott. He was blowing at that time. So that was the start of 34 years of work for Crystal for me.
And like that was in Ballytruckle, and Ballytruckle was very basic, wasn't it?
Well, it was Johnstown I started in.
Okay.
But I also went to Ballytruckle. Okay. And Ballytruckle was a difficult place there. You know, as far as heat was concerned, you wouldn't know what season you had, because it was still, everyone sweated very much, you know, in those jobs.
And when you went in first, what was your job?
As I was going to tell you there, I learned another language, such as blower, ball blower, mould holder, knock her off, carry her in. And that was my job, carry her in. So it just
like the runner then, was it?
Oh well, if Eddie Elliott wouldn't have been the fastest blower, but he would have been a very good blower, and he was consistent, you know. And you had to be back in time to take the glass and bring it to the layer, you know.
So you're running in and out all day, were you?
Well, running well, yeah. And if you had runners on you. No, but it was done, you know.
Okay. And the heat, you said, was incredible.
Well, the heat, like, because we didn't, the factory I'm just trying to think about. There was no fans there as such. You depended upon the windows being open, to get any fresh air.
And like when you went in as a whole load of young lads, like did you know many of the lads that were working there?
Let's put it another way. I got to know everyone that was there.
Okay.
After that, and it was. We were all great pals. Fights, arguments, kiss, make up. That was it. That was they'd sing away to their heart's content.
And just talk a little bit about the Germans, because there was, you were all being trained by, the people behind the whole operation at that stage were.
Well, there was, in fairness now, there was Germans, Italians, there was Polish fellas there, and believe it or not, there was 2 Scotchmen there, Willie Ramsey and Alfie Parker. They were there also.
And their job was to train the local lads?
No, their job was to make money.
Okay.
And that wasn't part and parcel of their remit. They had to blow glass. We ourselves would get up on the platforms during the lunch break, get the blowing iron, and go into the furnace and get out a piece of glass and blow the balls. But I was fortunate enough. I ended up holding the molds for a German, Rudolf Mulak, and he told me he'd teach me to blow balls on condition that I'd be in at 20 to 8 in the mornings and take out his bucket with all his equipment in it and put it at his bench, and true to his word. But during that training session on the platform, if any of the lads came up to talk to me, he'd just take the air off me and walk away. There was none of this business allowed.
No chat?
No chat,
It was all work?
All work and no play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. A different philosophy to the local lads, I'd say.
The local lads then could have been as bad as the rest of them. The local lads then were very good, They picked up the trade very fast.
Okay. And you were saying to me that there was a big high turnover of people.
Yes, there was a high turnover of young lads coming and going in the factory, because, as I said, the conditions weren't great, But those of us who stayed then went on.
Yeah, and then looking back, obviously there was a lot of characters in those days.
The place was full of them. But most of them, they're all dead now anyway. So maybe their wives probably didn't know they were characters. So Shin Maratoshi, we leave it at that.
And people would find it strange now to hear stories about like down in Johnstown, the people were allowed to have drink.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, when Rudolf Mulak, he progressed from being on the making the stems, and he progressed to be a production manager in the blowing room. He used to sit out and get bottles of Guinness, and we had a fella selling them then, Danny Waters. And fellas were done a lot of drinking on the job, But their wages was really gone. They didn't have great wages. They had good wages, but once all the drink was taken out of it, they wouldn't have had great money.
No, and about money. People often say that the glass got paid very well, but really it wasn't until much later on, was it? Till the big money came in.
Say that again, please.
Like the wages in the glass weren't necessarily great at the start.
Oh no, not at all. My wages were starting there as a carrier in was £2.06 and 4p. Now I was only a young fella, and of course you went home with your pay packet and handed a pay packet and all up. You didn't open it. You just handed it up to your mother, and that was it. She gave me back 10 shillings. And
and then so when you were working there, you were saying that basically the management there, at that time there was Jim Griffin, was it?
No,
Griffin,
you're talking about Noel Griffin.
Noel Griffin, yeah.
We called him Mr. Griffin.
Okay.
And the respect that we all had for him. And when I say we all, I better put a few, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That we all had for him was tremendous, and he came around visiting, come around at Christmas time. Knew every one of us by our names. Asked us, how are you getting on? How was your wife? If you were married at the time and you had family, how's the wife and family? And happy Christmas to you and yours. This was done every Christmas. He was a great man.
And people speak very highly of him.
And as I said, I find it difficult to call him Noel. He was Mr. Griffin.
Yeah.
And Mr. Griffin made sure that the workers shared in the profits of the factory when the factory started making profits. For example, we got 3 weeks bonus in the summer, 3 weeks bonus at Christmas, so that was 6 weeks bonus in all. Plus we got £40 to wet the shamrock. St. Patrick's Day. That's the only time you could wet it, by the way. St. Patrick's Day. So, like that, he was very good. And if we continue on that vein, he also organised that the workers with these houses would be built. Organised workers to buy their own houses. Owen Keeley, Tom Healy, and my neighbour here, Noel Cronin, they would have been the three. Owen Keeley would have done the financial end of it, and Noel here would have done the book end of it, to get all the details for the loans and things like that. And they were fantastic. And not alone, was Beechwood Avenue was the first of them, Belvedere, and I'd say it in brackets, I think Sunrise Crescent would have been the third and final one. And when you consider what's going on today, there was only one wage in the house at that time. After 6 weeks of marriage, the wife had to give up work, But we could purchase our houses, I moved into this 2 years after they were built.
And I mean, did you go on to become a master blower?
Oh no! I wouldn't say I was the brightest bulb in the chandelier. I assisted, all right.
Okay.
As I said, when I was ball blown, you went from ball blown to blown. I'm talking now to soda glass. Soda glass. I worked with Cyril Power. Now, he was one of the characters, good character. I worked with him. I progressed myself. I went on to blowing pint glasses, half pint glasses, then the Guinness tankers, and all of that. But soda closed down in 1969, and I went from there then to assistant in the Crystal. I went to the shop I went to in Crystal was Dick Meany, Jim Tracy, and that poor man died there just a few weeks ago. Tony Stacey was gone before him, and we had a very good time there. Worked hard, paid well,
And I believe there was a good crack. I mean, in the sense of the blowers, they're famous for singing.
I tell you, in K1 that was very, very good. As a matter of fact, there was one of the lads that used to go off for his lunch at 1 o'clock, and he said he used to love passing up Matty's Hill and to hear this sing song and everyone singing in together, All the pop songs, I don't think they were called pop songs of the day, but it'll do. They were all singing and doing very well.
Whatever was in the charts.
Whatever was in the charts. Whatever was in the chart, yeah.
And I believe you used to start a couple of songs yourself.
Well, when I was called upon. But mostly that'll be on night shift.
Oh, when people couldn't see you.
No, when people couldn't. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And so what was your?
The bog down in Kilbarry, and that's, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. You won't give us a blast.
I know. I'd have to have a choir.
And you stayed linked into Irish language and all that all your life, didn't you?
Well, I've always had a grow for it. Yeah. Always, and every chance I get, I would promote a few vocals that I would have.
And did you? I know you're big into cycling all your life. Was there a cycling club in the class?
No.
Okay.
No.
But there was a lot of sports and.
The Waterford Crystal was full of all sports, all sports. What else? There was athletics. There was Frank Leahy now used to have the boys out running. The late Frank Leahy, he used to have the boys out running. As a matter of fact, I think I see a race dedicated to him there some weeks ago. Frank Leahy.
And you mentioned in Johnstown there was shift work then, wasn't it?
There was shift work, yeah. There 2 shifts, 8 to 4 and 4 to 12.
Okay. And did that alternate each week, like every second?
Every alternate, yeah.
And were you able to get used to that? Were you okay with that? Some people hate shift work.
Yeah, but we would have preferred if we were on all days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when it went to Kilbarry, it was day work, was it?
Kilbarry then, that was day work.
Okay. And did you move to Kilbarry?
I moved to Kilbarry. When Soda closed down, I moved to Kilbarry, and as I said earlier, I worked in that wine shop.
Okay. And I mean, obviously Kilbarry is very different to what you come from.
Oh, Kilbarry was just, there's no comparison, good, bad and different. It was bright and airy and fans all around the place. It was the good conditions were fairly good, all right.
But some people didn't like it. Some people said they preferred Johnstown because they were close to all the shops and the pubs and all that kind of crap.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the trend then to go and drinking, that's really happened at lunchtime. Fellas used to go and have a liquid lunch at 12 to half 12. Now how they could walk, I think they walked up to Dides and Barrack Street and had their liquid lunch and back for half 12,
Dedication.
Commitment to the cause, yeah.
And obviously when you were working there, you went through, the fact you went from a very small place to a very big place.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that like?
Well, as I said, it went from a very, Ballytruckle was one hell of you could be in hell as far as the heat was concerned, But
you'd know everybody in Ballytruckle, wouldn't you? You'd know everybody. It was very small.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But really, with the distance of the layer, you didn't have too much time to chat or talk. You had to run in and make sure you were back in time to collect the glass. So.
And what? I mean, you said you had to go off. What other things did you do for the guy up on the platform? What would you have to do?
Well, you'd hear a shout, "Hey boy, water!" And at that time, it was to get water for it would be in a Snow Creek milk bottle, and run down to a tap and get the water and run back up, and to have it.
I mean, I'd say the dehydration must have been very bad, was it?
Yeah, and then management came up with this idea of salt tablets. Oh Christ, when I think of it, they said. Some of them were as big, you wouldn't give them to a horse. Probably what they should have been done was broken up and put in water or something, But to swallow them whole was sickening,
And did it work?
I can't say it did, no, I can't say it did.
And what was the health and safety like in those days?
All you done, it was no question of health and safety. You just went in there and done your work. You know, one of the great things that did come about is we did get a full medical centre. And we also had Dr. Kehoe, and may I take this opportunity to sympathise with his sons and daughters. He's been buried today. But Dr. Kehoe was our doctor. Mady Carroll and Rennie Byrne was the two nurses in the medical centre, and it was top class. You would get burns, or you would get cut splinters of glass here and there, and get down to the medical centre, and we were well looked after. You know.
I didn't know about Dr. Kehoe dying, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
He delivered me.
Very good.
I think he was only in Waterford for a very short time when he delivered
That's
me.
right. I think if I could only think of the doctor that he replaced, his son went on to play rugby, international rugby for Ireland. Oh, right. Breslin, was it?
Well, it's like, let's go on to the new book that came out. What was your impression of the book?
Well, I tell you, I read the book and I would recommend the book. But I was shocked that the industrial conditions that the workers went through after 1987. Like, in comparison to what we had from 1953, as I said earlier about the bonuses, 3 weeks bonus, Mr. Griffin wanted us to share in the profits of the place. He was down on the floor, the management was on the floor, and they're dealing with the workers. And as I said, we got canteens. The union was well looked after there as far as the computer comes in and the computer deductions. Whereas prior to that, it was the shop stewards who collected the money and handed it in. But the computer came in, all our deductions was taken from the wages. So
you're saying that from the book that things changed later on?
Oh, Jesus, and I didn't fully appreciate how much they had changed. Okay. The new management came in, they probably didn't know where the blowing room was.
So they had no connection with the workers?
No connection with from that book there.
Yeah.
They sent someone else to do the dirty work rather than go down themselves. No, that was the impression I got from the book, and as I said, I would recommend the book. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting that there was a different stage to the relationship with the workers.
Yeah, like as I said. All the workers, all the supervisors came from the pool of workers that were there. Some of them became the production managers in the blowing room. Wacker Hannigan went up to Dungarvan. He was a production manager. Bobby Mann across the road here, he was also a production manager, and they would have grown up with the workers around them. 1987 came along. No, I won't talk about that just for the moment. But after that, when new management came in, according to the book, it was hell on earth working there. Fellas who didn't want to go were forced to go, But
it was the beginning of the end in a way, really, wasn't
it? It certainly was, yeah. Okay. And as I said, the support that the union got, one of the... I was in the union office. I was elected by ballot vote on the floor as branch chairman in 1981. And management provided, paid for two union conveners. I was with Tommy Welch, who was a great chop steward altogether. He was so meticulous. But management paid our wages, the two union men. The shop stewards had the use of the union office, and they made good use of it, So that's the...
And the union, I mean, the other way sometimes people say it was a very radical union. But I mean, you wouldn't necessarily see it that way, would you, from your time anyway?
Well, there would have been that sort of thing going on, but it didn't take off.
Okay. But I mean, for example, the glass workers were always good at supporting other causes, whether it be the unemployment, the tax marches, or even the hunger strikes.
Right, I was,
And Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday, they were big marches.
They were indeed. As a matter of fact, Mr. Griffin, I think, himself took part in the Bloody Sunday march, and they were a hell of big... Well, yes, they were all very good at these causes. It was Henry Maloney, I think, and company who organised the dialysis that we pay per collection. I think it was 2 shillings a week, all of us in the factory. It was deducted from our wages and paid for the dialysis. I myself, in 1979, done a cycle from Mizenhead to Mallinhead for the Irish Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Children, organised by the late President of Ireland's wife, Erskine Childers' wife. She was the patron of it. That was 1979.
So, I mean, the glass factory workers were always willing to put their hands in their pockets.
They were indeed, yeah. What was the big one there? Chernobyl was another one.
Yeah.
I think Ethiopia was one that was very generously supported. After Scargill's strike, the workers supported that as well.
And I believe that the miners in Wales were very appreciative of that, weren't they?
They were indeed, yeah. As a matter of fact, I think they organised some of the kids to come to Ireland. As the workers couldn't be faulted. They were very, very generous with their some with their time, others with their money.
And the workers decided what charities they supported and which ones, whatever.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yes, I think it was No, the workers did decide on what charity they would support.
Okay, and so, Muiris, looking back on it now, I mean, obviously it's a very, very sad ending to the whole thing.
Well, it was a sad ending if we go back to 1987. The biggest disappointment for me was that in 1987 the management came up with early retirement and redundancies. And the papers were saying that this particular offer was one of the best in Europe. So when we go to a branch meeting and the top table didn't recommend that we accept it. So all hell broke loose. People had their own opinions, had my own opinions myself on what should have happened. That I was going, and I did go eventually, but I went with a bad taste from the top table. Two words, one word was used, it's union policy. No, but it was union policy. Why didn't we get a vote on union policy? And then there was a beauty. My job is not for sale. And the fellow who said that was gone out of the job himself at Christmas, along with a few more shop stewards, but they wouldn't negotiate for us. And that, to this day, I resent that. But that doesn't mean that I have any less belief in the trade union movement. When they went on strike in 1990, those of us who were out who had taken the early return, we marched in support of them. And the same again in I think it's just 2009. Time flies, but at 2009 when they occupied the office block. Those of us who took early retirement went out to support them, and I'm proud of that. You know, but I was very disappointed in.
I mean, it's hard to believe. Like, I mean, at one stage, 3,500 people worked there.
That's the fact, yeah. As a man, I go along. I have to pass up and down. I passed there a few times now, and to see all the buildings gone, and to think of the fellas that worked there who had given their heart and soul to it, who reared their families there, no longer there, and to see that office block, that magnificent office block, going into dilapidation, and looking at the site the other day, I was saying, why don't the corporation purchase it and build houses on it, do something with it? But it's definitely an eyesore, you know.
Okay, well, Muiris, is there anything? I mean, I know you took a few notes. Do you want to just have a quick look, see?
Well, I don't. You asked all the questions so far, so I've, as I said, 34 years I was there. By the way, there was in September 1989. I and along with 29 other fellas were asked to go back to Dungarvan for 6 months, and we answered the call. So we did go back, and strangely enough, answering that particular call, I was one of the few that have worked in the 5 industries. You know, 5 plants: Ballytruckle, Johnstown, Kilbarry, Butlerstown, and Dungarvan.
Wow.
You know, and all the people we met, but however it was
That's
good.
Amazing. That's amazing. Did you work in all 5 places?
All 5 places. Now there would be very few of us, but when we were there was a photograph taken, and I have it somewhere amongst my souvenirs, but I can't find it.
Yeah.
But the beauty of my retiring in 1987, I was 51 years of age. I had my health and strength buíochas le dia. I had it, and I cycled. I cycled, as I said earlier, Mizenhead to Mallinhead, 7 maracycles, Dublin to Belfast 7 times. I done the 10 Sean Kellys, you know, and also the tour of meat with my son, Eamon. I done 8 Father Colm O'Brien's, I'm going to point to them 2 pictures there. On the 11th of August was the last one of them. And
11th of August 2018.
2018.
And what age were you there, Muiris?
82.
No bother to you.
No bother to you, yeah. And like, I've had, what I want to say is that I've had a great life. I've worked with great people, worked with great management, and as I said, the only regret I have is the way I was not looked after coming out of the job. Now, we got a good pension, but we went out on the first offer. No one there to negotiate for us. Okay. But to conclude, I've fantastic life. I have a fantastic wife and family. We're 56 years married. I have my sons, and the beauty of when I talk about my family, it's just really tremendous to think that I have a daughter living up in Beechwood Avenue, a daughter living out in Tramore, a daughter living in Muiris, and I have my daughters living here, and they're all. My son is in Navan. He's only 2.5 hours away, you know. And whereas I think of other lads whose children have made very well for themselves, but they're away from home. But I have these people hanging around me, and it's brilliant. Yeah. I have 9 grandchildren, and two great grandchildren, and there'll be another one that coming of day very shortly. That'll be the 3rd one.
That's fantastic.
But I've enjoyed every moment of my retirement. And if I can conclude by asking myself this question, and I know the answer before I ask it, I often ask myself, what does the future hold? And it is, what's for me won't pass me. Shin will.
Yeah. Thanks very much, man. Cheers. You're very good. You're very good.